G'day Flow Crew, Nick here, and today we are in Taichung in central Taiwan, here for the launch of the 2026 Giant Anthem and Anthem X Advanced SL models. Now, why Taiwan? This is home to Giant's very own manufacturing facility, and we got to see these two bikes getting manufactured in their carbon fibre site. So stick around if you want to check out the manufacturing facility, all the nitty-gritty details, as well as some initial ride impressions, because we got to rip some local loops of the Taichung XC trails. Alright, so there were two models in the Anthem lineup, the standard Anthem, which has pure race-bred DNA for flat-out speed, and the Anthem X, designed for what the team at Giant call fast trail. The frames are almost identical between the two, the key difference being the inclusion of down-tube storage on the Anthem X. The regular Anthem misses out on down-tube storage to reduce weight, seeing as it's a full-blown race model. The Anthem and the Anthem X share the same suspension design, with 120mm of rear wheel travel, driven by the brand's FlexPoint Pro linkage-driven single pivot platform. The rear swing arm goes through about 5mm of flex as it moves through the travel, which happens pretty early on in the stroke. Less flex, in theory, leads to less unwanted spring forces during suspension movement, meaning the shock can be tuned more accurately for riding inputs rather than fighting those spring forces. The Anthem is paired with a 120mm fork up front, whereas the Anthem X receives a slightly longer 130mm fork to suit the slightly burlier intended use. I'm not going to go into the geometry numbers here, that will be all included in the launch article over at flowmountainbike.com, so head to the link in description to check that out. Alongside the launch of the Anthem and Anthem X is a new range of components which have all been designed in conjunction. We've got two new pairs of wheels in the lineup, the XCR carbon fibre wheels as well as the XCA models spec'd on the lower price point models. Both share the same hub with the brand's 120-tooth helical bevel drive ring system, delivering 3 degrees of engagement. Giant claims that this angled conical interface allows the ratchet teeth to mesh progressively rather than head-on, spreading load more evenly and maintaining constant contact through each engagement. The XCR wheels feature 6-toe carbon fibre spokes for improved durability and strength compared to common 4-toe carbon spokes. The brand's new carbon fibre rim uses what they call wide guard, which effectively increases the bead width and precisely shaping it to provide protection against pinch flats. This results in a wheel set that tips the scales in 1,346 grams. The XCA aluminium option shares a very similar rim profile, ditches the carbon spokes for traditional straight pull SAPIM spokes and tips the scales at 1,783 grams. We've also got two new integrated bars, one carbon, one aluminium, which are featured throughout the lineup. There's a new switch contact SL seat post seen on the standard Anthem models, which is a lightweight 2-position post. All right, manufacturing facility. We had the unique and rare experience of seeing the Anthem frames being manufactured firsthand, a bike nerd's dream come true. The size, scale and efficiency of the entire factory are nothing short of mind-boggling, and I could spend an entire day watching each frame get meticulously crafted. At the core of the Anthem is the brand's advanced SL manufacturing technique, paired with their very own custom woven pre-preg carbon sheets made in the same very factory. They start with the spools of carbon fibre strands, lay them in a unidirectional arrangement and impregnate them with a unique resin blend to form the carbon sheets that have the exact modulus of elasticity they were looking for, with a resin that is claimed to provide superior impact resistance over traditional resins. Sheets are stored in a temperature-controlled room to keep the resins inactive, and the frosty -12-degree temperature was a delight to temporarily hide from the 30-degree heat and high humidity of Taiwan. From there, the sheets are cut into individual pieces of the frame. The Anthem is made up of 700 precisely cut pieces to optimise stiffness and weight where required. Traditionally, the carbon pieces are stamped, which is less accurate and can lead to excess material and overlap in between sheets. Other methods include laser cutting, but Giant found the heat from the laser cutting pre-activates the resin and could sometimes warp or distort individual pieces. They are now using a technique called cold blade cutting, easiest described as a large, ultra-precise vinyl cutter. Each individual piece is meticulously placed by hand onto the resin blanks to form the soft frame. This is extremely time-consuming, but Giant claims is far more precise compared to an automated layout method. They do use some level of automation to create sub-assemblies of the carbon fibre pieces, which improves overall efficiency. Soft frames are then placed into the moulds and cured under high heat and pressure, resulting in the complete front triangle. The secret sauce to the advanced SL manufacturing is the single-piece bladder used, as opposed to 2 or sometimes 3-piece bladders in traditional composite manufacturing. Giant claims this creates a more homogeneous construction and more accurate wall thickness, resulting in a lighter frame without compromising stiffness. Frames go through various testing regimes, including fatigue testing, dynamic load testing, and impact testing to the required international standards. Giant claim they push their testing a little bit further and test their products to around 20% more than the standard nominated loading and fatigue cycle limits. They also use field data analytics to validate their own load criteria, meaning they are actually designing the frames for real-world riding scenarios. Throughout the entire process, there are about 56 pairs of hands that touch each frame, 20 hours of handwork, and each frame goes through 16 QA checkpoints to make sure they're all up to scratch. Frames are randomly selected from each batch and go through an X-ray machine to make sure there are no voids, inconsistencies, or imperfections. Pretty cool fact, every single carbon fibre road bike fork that comes out of the factory is X-rayed at the high stress zone, being the steerer tube, to be 100% sure that every product is perfect. Our ride time on the Anthem and the Anthem X is reasonably limited, but our test loop here in Taichung, Taiwan allowed us to gather some initial thoughts on the differences between the two bikes. First things first, this thing is stiff. The test course consisted of multiple short, punchy climbs where out of the saddle efforts were a must. Stomp on the pedals, and both the Anthem and the Anthem X shoot up. It's ultra snappy, super responsive. The suspension feel is super supportive and quite progressive, which explains the custom tuned air can on the Anthem X models. It seems to soak up square edge hits really well, and it seems to really flutter and remain active in the zone between sag and around 60%. This leaves the remaining 40% for the bigger hits, and despite me actually trying to bottom it out, I don't actually think I got there. It's definitely retained the springiness and liveliness of a flex stay suspension platform, which I think suits the bike really well. I quite liked the geometry of the one-piece bars, and the shape of both the upsweep and back sweep is neutral and comfortable. We only had a chance to ride the Carbon XCR model, which I did find quite stiff. You can definitely feel trail vibrations coming through the bars, which absolutely isn't unique to this particular bar. The differences between the two bikes is quite subtle, which isn't surprising given they use essentially the same frame. The higher stack on the Anthem X was a little more comfortable thanks to the longer travel fork, and the parts choice, primarily the tyres, will be really well suited to Australian terrain. That being said, for those looking for a pure XC race machine, the Anthem is undoubtedly quicker, and once again, I think a fair bit of that came down to the tyre choice, with the almost slick Maxxis Aspens rolling insanely quick. All right, that wraps up this launch piece for the 2026 Giant Anthem and Anthem X Advanced SL models. Head over to flowmountainbike.com for more info, and we will have a full-blown written and video review coming in the next few months once Will has ripped some local loops in Australia. It's time for me now to go hit the pool because it is stinking hot here. See you later.